Hello everyone, just checking in again on the Jim Collins Good to Great book. Hope you've had a chance to check it out from the library. But what I'd like to do this afternoon is just to talk to you a little bit based on some of the feedback that I got from the first video. People are wondering, how do you make this practical? What does it look like in real life? Well, let me give you a story from the Jim Collins Good to Great book. And then, after I give you that story, I'll talk a little bit about BC, and then I'll talk a little bit about a local business that used the Good to Great model. I don't know whether they were thinking about it, but it certainly fits the profile of what Jim Collins was talking about. Well, first of all, in order to move from good to great, you have to embrace that hedgehog concept. It starts with an area that is your passion, an area that you can be absolutely great at, and also something that brings the economics. So passion plus something that you're tremendously great at doing, and it has to be an economic driver. Those three keys. Now, how do you find that? Well, sometimes you find it by looking at your competitors. We are an institution of higher education, so we're naturally going to look at other institutions when we're trying to drive good to great. Jim Collins brings out a comparison between Bank of America and Wells Fargo. You see, Bank of America was an international bank, and they built their brand and their fortune on giving a high volume of loans. And Wells Fargo was looking at that model. Bank of America was international. They had lots of employees and they had a hierarchy to support it. They had several layers of bureaucracy, and they were the footprint, the blueprint for everything banking. But then deregulation happened. Deregulation happened, and then all of a sudden it was harder to turn profits on loans. And so Wells Fargo, being a smaller entity, found it hard to keep up their economics with using the model that they had embraced from Bank of America. So what they did is they decided that they wouldn't look at loan volume, they would look at employee productivity. So they had fewer employees who were doing a high volume of efficient and effective work. And they found that with the employees that they had, they were able to create their own brand. And they abandoned the idea of an international footprint, and they became a local bank. And Wells Fargo did succeed. But they didn't do it by embracing everything from Bank of America. They took what was valuable and applicable to them. Now, what does that mean for us? We're always looking at four-year institutions, and sometimes you'll hear it being said, well, when is Bermuda College going to become a four-year university? Well, the answer is we may never become a four-year university. It takes so much infrastructure to actually bring that to pass. But what we have found, at least in my area, is that by creating a 2+2 pathway from Bermuda College to colleges and universities across the UK, the US, Canada, and the West Indies in a variety of disciplines, then we are able to broker that four-year degree for our students. And so we can boast on the fact that if you send your students to Bermuda College, then we can get them where they would like to land. Face it, every student, every child on this island looks forward to the day when they can leave this island, not stay here for 4 years. And so we're serving them as a customer by putting them in the position to be able to study abroad in the locations that they so desire. So that is one way that we have figured out, and not even intentionally, I don't even think, but just by doing the next right thing and by listening to our customers and then by continuing on a path that's our own, we are able to boast now that we have 42, 43 partnerships with colleges and universities in those areas mentioned.